Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Jen Kordonsky of Optimal Spine Chiropractic in Aberdeen, Maryland. And tonight's class is Power of Posture. First of all, I want to just let you know that the reason that we come on live every week, the reason that we've always taught these classes in our office is because it is my personal purpose on this planet to love and nourish and connect and educate those that are around me so that they can express their full potential. That's my thing. That's what I know my purpose is. And there's so much going on right now. Our current situation is filled with unknowns. We have just so much information that we're trying to make decisions on that's incomplete. And the only thing that we can control, really, is how we care for our bodies. We know that the healthier we make our bodies, the more resilient and the less worrisome this virus is. So you can't control much of anything, but you can take affirmative action for building your health immediately. Even a small step in the right direction is an improvement that will pay dividends in protecting yourself, protecting your family. And that's why we're here every week, staying engaged in the process, in thinking about how you can build health every week. Just showing up is half the battle. Sometimes I use the analogy to help people understand that even small steps are important. You'll hear me say this all the time. I've heard too many people say, yeah, but I can't, I've tried that, I've tried this, and they've given up on things. Here's an analogy in reverse. So I want you to think about this. If you decided to take up smoking, you've never smoked before, you decide to take up smoking, but you're only going to smoke 1 cigarette a day. At the end of a year, are you healthier than you were before you started smoking? No. That 1 cigarette a day had a cumulative effect, right? Even if it's not a big noticeable change to your health, it's been a detriment. It didn't move you in the right direction. So just as much as one thing in the negative accumulates, so do the things that we can do in the positive. If you are a smoker and you know that that's not good for your health, 1 less cigarette a day could make an impact. It's not all or nothing when it comes to how we care for our bodies. It's a cumulative, your body keeps track and it all adds up. So these little things, posture may seem like a little thing, but tonight I'm going to share with you how powerful posture really is. Posture is going to change how you look from the outside. Quite obviously, you've probably seen, that, there's ways that you can make yourself look taller, leaner, better, more attractive by standing with good posture. We've all seen, movies or cartoons where the villain has a certain posture and the superhero has a different posture. People are going to observe you from the outside. They're going to see your posture, whether they notice it and really pay attention. It's going to make them think of you in a certain way. People would think that someone is maybe more optimistic, more confident when they're showing good posture. They might notice that someone who looks more vulnerable or weaker or meeker, if I'm walking down the street and I feel unsafe, well, then I need to make my posture and my movements assertive and confident. So the way you exercise your posture is going to change the way people perceive you from the outside. Your posture will change the way you feel on the inside. So just as much as the posture externally projects an image, that feeling can be translated to the inside. So the way you hold your body will change the way you feel about yourself. It can impact your mood. When you feel down and depressed, your body language mirrors that feeling, and you can change the way you feel by changing your posture. There was a study done with college students where they had them good posture versus poor posture, and they found that the students with the better posture, when they were being given a lecture on the test that they took afterwards, got better test scores when their posture was better. So they had better memory, better recall, better learning when they were sitting up. The other thing that they found in a similar study was that recall was better, but recall of positive memories about oneself is better when posture is better. So when you're like this, the students in the study were more apt to recall things that were negative or things that they didn't like about their past. But the students who were exercising good posture had better recall of positive attributes about themselves, positive memories about their past. So the way you feel is going to certainly impact the way you think and the actions that you take. So there's really so much room for taking advantage of the simplicity of good posture in changing your life. Good posture will reduce stress on your joints, on your discs of your spine, and on the muscles of your body. When we sit with our phone and we drop our head to a 45-degree angle and we're looking down like this, that's just like walking around with a 45-pound weight on the back of your head. That is sapping energy from your body. You are using muscular energy just to hold your head up, and it is putting an incredible amount of stress on the discs and the joints of the spine. Obviously, if you understand how the gravity and the mechanics of your spine work, that's going to cause them to degenerate and break down much more rapidly than they would have otherwise. So we have to slow that degenerative process, because the next thing that I'm going to bring up is that when we reduce stress, or when we have better posture, we reduce stress on the nerves, the nerve system, the all-important master control system of your entire body and your entire life. When we are forward posture like this, we are increasing the compressive forces on the discs, therefore narrowing the space that the nerves have in order to communicate their signals from the brain to the body, and from the body back to the brain. That communication is everything. Your body is dependent upon it. The better that communication, the better your health. Healthy spine, healthy body. They just go hand in hand. When your body is in good alignment and your posture is ideal, including the shoulders being in the right position, that reduces your chance of injury. This is during, just sitting at your desk, but it would be also, especially during exercise, sports activities. If your body is in ideal alignment, then those joints are healthier, the muscles are working in a more balanced fashion, and it can prevent injury. This little bit of shoulder forward roll that most people end up with, or the little bit of forward head position that most people end up with, that predisposes you, just that little bit of a roll forward, picking up a bag of groceries, and you could be making little micro tears in your shoulder, as opposed to when it's in its ideal, strongest position, it's more protected. So these are just a few of the reasons why I want you to care about your posture and the posture of the people in your family and those that you love. So if your posture is great, then you have to protect it, right? There's things that you need to do. If you've lost good posture, if using good posture seems either painful or uncomfortable or exhausting, then there's a problem and it needs to be corrected. So I've heard that, especially when I'm lecturing to groups that are not already chiropractic patients, and we talk about head position, and they'll say, oh, well, when I do that, it hurts. Or, I tried doing that, and I just feel like exhausted. My muscles are just so tired holding me up. Well, there's a couple of things at play. Posture is a combination of your spine's ability to align properly, and it's also the habit of doing it and the muscle's ability to stay strong in that position. Now, an ideally aligned spine without subluxations with good range of motion, it's actually the least effort that your muscles are exerting to hold you in good alignment. It's the least effort. But if it feels exhausting, or exercising good posture causes you pain or discomfort, then that's your body telling you that there is a problem that it cannot overcome. Very likely a subluxation, a muscular imbalance that would need some work. So protecting good posture, starts in childhood. I'm constantly telling my kids to, pick up the tablet and look at it up here. When they're watching TV, it's just a constant. They have to build the habit, and you have to start protecting posture from an early age. That is why chiropractic care of the human spine is something that is appropriate and important from birth to death, your entire life. Even if we avoid the stresses of poor posture, if we avoid the stress of having to sit too much and use technology, which, let's face it, we all have to do all the time, even if we avoid those stresses, there are stresses that cannot be avoided. And we all want to use our bodies. Kids are playing sports and sitting in desks, and they are just as much likely to create problems in their spine as an adult. And usually an adult's problems stemmed from childhood. So protecting alignment, protecting posture is something that starts early on. In fact, it's better to catch the kids before the teen years, before they're glued to the phone, and they're constantly with that forward head posture. It's easier to get them into the habit earlier. In fact, my 12-year-old caught me the other day looking at my phone with bad posture, and he reminded me because I've been in his ear for so long. So once we have created good habits and we are practicing that, we have, or what I wanted to say is that if we have lost ideal posture and we're past the point of correcting it, past the point of protecting it, and we need to correct it, then we have to put things in the proper order. Number one, we have to address the subluxations. One of the first things that we do here when we have someone come in as a new patient, we check their posture, and we tell them we're checking their posture. We ask them to give us their best, and if we notice that one shoulder is slightly higher than the other, or there's a little bit of a tilt and the hips are slightly off, what that indicates are the subluxations that are blocking them from being able to assume ideal posture easily. So we have to do the corrective, or at least begin the corrective process first. We can't start retraining habits before the spine is capable and has the ability to move into those positions ideally. So we start with the adjustment process. And then we have to add in some exercises, some stretches and strengthening moves that will help restore the proper posture. And these can be done preventatively, and they definitely need to be done correctively. One of the major things that happens is people lose the proper curve of their neck, and it may or not be visible from the outside. But interestingly, my son got braces at the beginning of the year, and they took an x-ray of the side of his jaw to see his teeth, and it included his cervical spine. And as we were sitting there waiting for the orthodontist, I was commenting about my son's x-ray because I've never seen an x-ray of his spine, and I pointed out how he had a nice cervical curve. And one of the orthodontist's assistants asked me, she's like, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" And I explained, I'm a chiropractor, I look at x-rays all the time. One of the problems that we find is that people lose the appropriate curve of their neck. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I see these x-rays all the time, and so many people have the neck curve in the wrong direction." She said, "I didn't realize that that was a problem, that it was supposed to go the other way." And typically, your patients having their braces put on are young people, right? Not all the time, but certainly we're seeing the signs that this, especially with the technology use, that the stress of reverse cervical curve is starting earlier and earlier in life, and it's creating damage. And of course, people think, oh, well, it's normal to have degenerative disc disease, to have a little arthritis in the spine. It's not normal. It's just incredibly common because so many people are not protecting the health of their spine. So we may need to do some curve correction. One of the best tools we have found is the Denner roll. It's a foam block, specially shaped. It goes back behind the neck. You lay back on it, and when you're being adjusted and the vertebrae are becoming movable again, this will help use gravity to reshape the curve. That ligament in the spine, the anterior longitudinal ligament, is tough, and it needs that time under pressure to help reshape. Another common postural problem, so with the curve correction, you really need to see an x-ray to know whether or not that's needed. But a very common postural problem is what we call anterior head carriage, so the head being forward of where it should be. Ideally, the ear should be roughly in line with the shoulder. And the exercise that we use for correcting this, primarily we call chin tucks. And it is pulling the chin straight back, not up or down, just straight back, and doing at least 10 reps of that a day. It seems small, but it's a significant help towards reducing the scar tissue in between those vertebrae, in between adjustments. So next thing we often see is an increase in the kyphosis, or the forward curve of the spine. If you feel like, oh, I'm developing a hump here, that's an increase in kyphosis. If you have a forward head position, that kyphosis is developing as well, and that is not a good thing. There's been medical research that shows the greater the degree of kyphosis, the more trouble that the cardiovascular system has, the lungs are impacted, and it impacts recovery from illness later in life. So none of us want to become the little old lady or the little old man. So for the increase in kyphosis, we recommend the crucifix stretch. So sitting with your head pulled back into good posture, palms out, squeeze the shoulder blades and stretch here. And that activates the muscles that are going to have to get strong to hold the posture ideally. That also helps correct that forward shoulder roll. And then in addition to that, I really like to have people do what I call floor angels or wall angels, basically laying flat on the floor or getting flat up against the wall where your head is all the way back, and then turning your arms and just getting that extension, that full extension of the shoulder, and then pretending like you're a kid making snow angels. And keeping your arms flat against the floor or flat against the wall will help stretch and create the proper alignment in the shoulder, break up scar tissue there, and by exercise, by moving, even though it's slow and it doesn't feel like it's very much effort, that range of motion, activating the muscles like that, will help teach your body to hold that good alignment. Again, I can't emphasize that none of this really works without first correcting the subluxations. If those joints cannot move, we may make improvements, but we're not really going to get the full protective effect of having good alignment, good healthy moving vertebra, and good posture. So, two more things that I want to point out that need to be worked on to correct posture is the hip flexors need to be released. And I want you to, I'm not going to demonstrate, Google hip flexor stretch. It's very important that we spend too much time sitting, the hip flexors get tight. We need to release them and have them flexible on both sides. That hip flexor pulls the pelvis out of alignment, pulls the spine out of alignment, and it's really important that we have nice flexible hip flexors. Lastly is strengthening the extensors of the body. Extensors are all the muscles along the back that lift us up, right? So my favorite exercises for strengthening the extensors are Batmans and Supermans. And one of the things that I just want to, so you can Google how to do a Batman or a Superman, but I want to make two tweaks to how you're taught to do them. Number one, do not crane the neck. So a Batman or Superman, you're laying flat on your stomach and you're going to lift up like that. And it's extending the body, but I don't want you to crane your neck like this. I want you to keep your eyes gazing down at the ground and lift your spine in a neutral fashion. So the whole spine comes up, not like this. Hope that makes sense. And then I want you to think about hand position. So very often our shoulders get rolled forward and our hands are rolled in. If you look at yourself in the mirror and your thumbs are pointing when you're standing up and your thumbs are pointing in, then the shoulders are rolled forward. We want the thumbs pointing straight towards the mirror if you are standing in a full-length mirror. So when you are doing the Batman or Superman, it's a good opportunity to turn your hands outward, just like in the crucifix stretch. Turn your hands outward so you're rolling the shoulders back, the thumbs are pointing away from your body, and we are undoing some of that forward shoulder roll. Core strength is actually really important too in posture, and we do an entire class on that. We'll be doing it live August 11th, and I think there's already a recorded one that you can go back to. For notes on core strength, notes on tonight's class, just contact us, let us know if you'd like a list of these stretches. If you are currently under care, then we'll be seeing you soon. If you are not a patient here and you need to find a chiropractor who is going to teach you and take good care of you, let us know. We'd be happy to help you find. We have a network of chiropractors that we are in contact with, but everyone needs to have their spine checked early and regularly throughout their life. It is one of the things that is the most powerful. And like I said when we opened the class, there's so much that is out of our control. What we can control is ourselves. And the way we care for our body, the way we protect our health, there's no measuring. It's so critical, and the results of building your health are priceless. And in this time where we're worried, we're thinking about sending the kids back to school and, who's getting sick and who's not getting sick. And I just know that I'm going to build my health. I'm going to keep my family strong and healthy, starting from the inside out. And that's all I can do. And the rest is out of my hands. So we'd like to help you in that journey. And we are honored that you are here with us. And we look forward to seeing you soon.